Jimmy Smith, Jaguar legend.
And the franchise's history.
No doubt.
That's right.
But Jimmy, the greatest receiver to ever lace him up in Jacksonville. Who knows? By his own admission, maybe Brian Thomas Jr. gets there one day. Ooh. But Mike Dempsey, Tom McManus, Tony Smith here with you as we welcome in now a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame again inside the top 50, and we're hoping to advance beyond Mr. Jimmy Smith. Jimmy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
What's
Always
up,
love
Smooth?
catching up with you, brother. You and McMahon, he was telling us, I didn't realize how much of a friendship you and Tommy personally have. I mean, obviously you guys were teammates, but you guys have been pretty close over the years, huh?
You know what? When you go into an NFL locker room and, you don't know who's going to be your friend or not, you kind of gravitate to guys who are in your same position group. And, me being a receiver, Tommy being a middle linebacker, we just had a special connection over the years. We just kind of, we're just gravitated to each other from across the locker room. I think his locker was way across the locker room, and we just had just a kind of magnetic attraction, and we just been real close friends. Throughout the years, and it's he's one of my best friends.
Yeah, same, Smooth. We're cut from the same cloth is the way I like to say it, my man. So how you feeling, man? Top 50, Hall of Fame, well deserved. How's it feel to be Jimmy Smith this morning?
It feels good, man. I got chills. I was on the tractor, man, bush hogging, baling some hay the other day. I just happened to pull out my phone. and I followed a lot of the Jaguar fan support group chat, and this one follower fan, he made a post and it said Jimmy Smith makes it to the final 50 for the very first time. I'm like, what? Well, man, this is AI, man. Somebody's messing with me. And come to find out, I went to the website and there was my name. So I was extremely happy. I'm like, what? I'm surprised. I finally made it past that first round. So good things are happening.
Jimmy, has the process, again, you make the top 50 for the first time, and we're all rooting for you, Jimmy. We're rooting for you. We're rooting for Fred to get honored, as you should be. You guys are Hall of Fame players. What has the process been any fun to this point? You finally make the top 50 for the first time, but has it been any fun these last couple of years following this process to this point?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been frustrating because when you know that you got the numbers and when you hear from your peers, even the guys that are being voted in from time to time, and I'm talking about receivers who are going into the Hall of Fame, I'm talking about the defensive backs who are going into the Hall of Fame, when they speak your name and talking about, you're the toughest guy I ever faced. And when you hear those things from your peers, but you don't see any progress from the Hall of Fame voters, it gets real frustrating. And, I witnessed what Tony went through. It seemed like, he's going in this year. He's going in, and it just seemed like it took forever for Baselli to get in, and he finally got that nod, and it was rewarding. So I'm looking for the same thing, and I've always been a guy, who's just happy to be nominated. I was just happy to be on that list for a while, and now, man, I'm ready. I'm making progress.
Jimmy, we hope you get the gold jacket one day, but tell us how great those teal jackets are for the pride of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Freddie T showed me his. The lining is so sick, man. I mean, you had to be blown away when you got that.
I was. The inside of it has, pictures of your career, different plays. I don't even know how they did it, but it's real nice. The color, obviously, and the detail on that jacket is awesome. And hats off to Shad Khan and Jaguar organization for honoring us with those jackets. And it's real cool. I'm happy to wear them every time I come to the stadium and see the Jags play.
Jimmy, you mentioned your peers and how they rave about you. I think that should be taken into more consideration when you're talking about the Hall of Fame, especially the guys that are in the Hall of Fame that you played against, and that they would stand up there and say those things. I mean, they could press you knock your hands off and get up the field. I mean, they could play off you. They were always scared to death to get beat deep. You always would break it off at the right moment without changing, without any motion, just boom, planting that foot and going. But to have them say that, I mean, look, whatever happens with the Hall of Fame, obviously we all want it for you, and I know you do too. But having your peers that are in there saying, you know what, Smooth, you were one of the best, buddy. That's got to go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, it does go a long way. There was a podcast with Champ Bailey maybe a month ago, and he was saying the same thing. Ty Law said on podcast.
Yep.
Pac-Man Jones, even though he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's considered one of the toughest DBs in the league when he played. He was saying that I was one of the hardest guys there. And when you get guy after guy after guy say that, then you look at the Hall of Fame list, and then you're buried. You know, and it's a bottleneck of receivers. It's a lot of receivers that should be in the Hall of Fame. All Hall of Fame receivers. I'm talking about Hines Ward, Torrey Holt,
Reggie Wayne's there.
Yep.
Reggie Wayne, and we're talking about these guys that have been in the finals for a couple of years. You know, it becomes frustrating. But at the same time, when I sit back, I'm like, you know what? I'm just happy to have my name on the nomination list.
Jimmy, I was looking at some of your career numbers yesterday. I mentioned this yesterday on the show as well when I was looking at it with you making the top 50. Does Keenan give you a hard time when you guys get together that he's one spot ahead of you on the all-times receptions list?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. That's, you know, Keenan's been my best friend, and Keenan's always been a competitor, and we worked well together. The way we in games, it was probably more frustrating for our quarterback, Mark Brunell. But I was always the kind of guy, you know what, I'm just going to sit back and wait on my time to come. The ball to come to me after Keenan gets through fussing at Mark about getting the ball in the first one. So I wasn't going to be the guy to cause any rift. You know, I knew eventually that the game would come to me. That was my mindset in every NFL game that I played. Eventually, the game would come to me. You know, it has no choice but to come to me.
Jaguar great Jimmy Smith, NFL great Jimmy Smith here with us on Jaguars Today. Jimmy, long way to go, but I know you've been impressed by the early returns from Brian Thomas Jr. When you watch him, what do you see through your receiver's eyes?
Well, I see a guy who's very talented. He's fast, and I'm saying this because he's got so much more to learn about the game. You know, with his raw ability, he's able to make plays. He's a playmaker. That's what stands out to me. It's just not one thing. We all know he's fast. You know, I can't really point to his releases. Can't really point to how he comes out of his routes. He just makes plays, and I'm just hopeful that Press Taylor will keep designing plays to get him the ball because unless you got Brian Thomas that's putting fear in defensive backs that, you know, he'll get over the top, nothing else is going to work. So he's the key. And I see that he's a captain this week. Am I wrong?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's big. And, Tommy, you know that's big
absolutely.
To be selected as a team captain as a rookie. So that says a lot. That's one draft pick that we hit big on. So I wish him the best. I'll be watching him, and I'm always pulling for him.
You know what, Smooth? I like the way he goes over the middle. I like the way he runs slants, deep ends. He's not afraid whatsoever. He's not a one-trick guy, you know, just deep down the field. He's good on the end of rounds. He catches the rock really well. I mean, he's got a lot of savviness for a young guy. I mean, look how he set up Gonzalez on that route last week, right? He kind of lulled him a bit and then hit that jet, and it was unbelievable, right? So he knows how to. I think he knows how to play the position, and he's only going to get better as you
only
know,
going to get better
with more time. Yeah.
He's only going to get better once he masters his craft as far as his stance off the line and as far as come off the ball. You'll see in games to come, he'll get better. And even next year, he's going to be even that much better than he is right now. Right now, he's just getting his feet wet and showing us what he can do. So I'm looking for this guy to be a big-time playmaker for us in the years to come, and I'm glad to have him part of the Jaguars.
Jimmy, we've obviously, the way the season has started, 2-5 for the football team at this point. We're reacting with fans every day here on the show that have been as frustrated as we've heard them. in a number of years with the results that the team is getting on field right now. What has your level of frustration been to this point in the 2024 season?
I mean, it's been highly frustrating for me. I look back and, if nothing else, we should have an extra 2 games under the win column with the Miami game that we fumbled away in the end zone. And then in Cleveland, we just fell apart against Cleveland. I don't know how we lost that game in Cleveland. So, things happen in the NFL. Well, let me go back to this Buffalo game. Now, in this Buffalo game, I was debating calling myself a former Jaguar, man. I was ashamed the way – I don't think we've ever gotten beat like that. Have we, Tommy, in franchise history?
San Fran beat us up pretty good last year, if you remember. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
San Fran kicked our butt pretty good.
It just seemed like – but that Buffalo game the other night, man, was horrible. So, hopefully they'll get things together and get things rolling. I know we got a new defensive coordinator that run a lot of man and rotating a lot of guys out. Hopefully they'll get that stuff worked out. And I just have my fingers crossed that we'll win a few of these games in this gauntlet that's coming up that we're not supposed to win. And it make fans feel a lot better, and hopefully we'll begin to make some progress as a team. That's a hope now.
Yep.
Don't quote me on any of that. I'm just hoping.
Amen to that. We're all in the same boat, Jimmy. We all expected more. We're hoping for more. So let me ask you, as it stands at this point in time, with them at 2-5, do you think they've got the right people in place, be it the front office, the coaching staff? Do you have the faith that Doug Peterson is the guy that can lead this team back to where they want to be, whether it's where they deserve to be or not, whether it's this year or even beyond 2024?
Well, this is the thing about Doug Peterson. I like him as a person. I think his coaching career speaks for itself. Being a Super Bowl winning coach in Philadelphia. What I've seen these last 2 or 3 years is a finesse team. I'm not going to say they're soft. It's been a finesse team, and it's very hard to win in the NFL as a finesse team. You got to have somebody come up and hit you in your mouth. I think we have some players that'll hit you in the mouth, but they just got to be kicked in the butt a little bit to go out and hit somebody in the mouth. When I played, guys, it was always this. You may beat me in this game, but you're not going to kick my butt in this game. And when I faced DBs, I always looked at their lower bodies, and I imagined myself, you know what, could I beat this guy in the fight? And most DBs, that I went against, most defensive backs, they're not really in the weight room, and most receivers are not really in the weight room like I was. I lifted weights. I took weightlifting very seriously. And my mindset was, okay, this guy may cover me, but at the end of the day, if we had to fight each other, who would win? Well, that was my mindset, and that's kind of how I played the game when I played.
Yeah. Listen, Smooth, you and I both know, look, regardless of how the coach is, it's up to those players to come together in that locker room and turn that around, right? So hopefully they have. Hopefully they're out there on the right path. Hopefully they can handle the success of what they did against New England and do their job. Remember the conversation we had, what was it, a week or 2 ago? And I asked you, could the ball be coming in funny from Trevor? And you shut me down right away. You said, it's not Trevor. It's the wide receivers. They don't work hard enough. They're not working on their hands enough. They're not putting in the extra time. Now, it was better last week, so maybe they heard some of that, my man, but that's what it comes down to, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Trevor throws one of the most catchable balls that I've seen. I mean, that he can throw. So the receivers got to get off their butts, man, and get on that jug machine after practice, before practice, or whatever it takes.
Yep.
And start getting some extra catches in, and we just got to get back to some bully football. I think that's the only way to win in the NFL, being bullies.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.